I am live. Today is the 24th of April 2025 and I am reading The Invisible Way, a book by Reshad Feild. It was published 1979. He's passed away in 2016. This is about his journey and his relationship with Nur. He is in England. He was in Turkey for quite a while, and he's in England visiting John, and he is with Nur, his new love. It was quiet by the river. What John had said affected us both very deeply, and we sensed each other's pain. We sat down on a fallen tree where a pool had been cut out in a curve of the riverbed. It was so deep that the water looked black. In contrast, the water ran white over the pebbles on the other bank. Here, water skeeters and caddisflies moved in the quieter back eddies, and once we saw a small eel nosing its way around the edge of the pool, looking for food, sometimes standing on its head as it searched under the larger rocks. A fisherman stood further down the river, but his dog, a beautiful golden retriever, came bounding up the side opposite, barking occasionally. He finally laid down spread-eagled in the shallows opposite, alternatively panting and lapping great gulps of water. We listened as a farm dog barked in the distance, and an occasional car accelerated up the hill towards the village. "Forgive me for this morning's episode," Noor said finally. "I know it must be hard to understand me sometimes, but it's so difficult finding words to express things that you can see or experience in a total different dimension. It is as though I go in and out of time. I was always like that, really, but the illness made it more acute, and I found it difficult to communicate. When I was a little girl, I used to run into the woods when no one understood what I was saying or trying to explain. I could see something no one else could see. Since I was tiny, I have been able to sense energy patterns. Everyone used to laugh at me and tell me that I was telling fibs, but it is true. There are other words right here. There are other worlds right here under our noses, and it's all so simple, really. But what's that got to do with lunchtime? I asked her. Do you think radionics is to do with this as well then? I don't know, but when I saw Margaret, it was like seeing some of the things I experienced all those years ago. That is why I want to go and have a look at what she's doing. All I know is that Margaret is open to something. It was the same with Elizabeth when I first saw her, and with John. Yet for some reason with John I was not so surprised. You go in and out too, if you see what I mean. Sometimes I can see that you know, and that you are on the point of recognition. Then you start to doubt, and everything changes back again. The formative worlds interpenetrate us all the time. If we were truly open, it would be possible to see both the formative worlds within the different dimensions and the beings who live in these worlds. Does that make sense? But what's happening to us in all this, Noor? I asked. I keep feeling that I'm way out of my depth, and something is going on that is becoming more and more frightening. It is as though we are caught in something beyond our control. We met, and within an incredibly short space of time, it became obvious that we were going to be together for a very long time. Stranger and stranger things happened to us, and yet we seem to have no say in the matter. If you think about it, this is one of the only times that we have ever had to talk alone. There, you are analyzing it again. Don't doubt. Can you find anything wrong right now? I can't. So that's not so hard to bear, is it? Bear what? Oh, for heaven's sake, I know I'm not being very coherent, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about the two of us and this destiny that brought us together. If we can stand the tension lying within the yearning and the longing to know, can you stand the inevitability of what will happen? Isn't that why you are getting upset? But since you can't control it, you might as well let it unfold. But how can we possibly know what is going to happen? I asked. Nobody can know that. There are too many factors to be taken into consideration. Oh, please, she begged, sitting up and looking at me intently. I know it is hard, but you cannot understand any of these things with that mind of yours. We have both got to stop thinking to be able to understand. Can't you see that if this is destined, then we have to face everything that is given, whatever comes, whether it is easy or difficult? Don't you see? It is the same with many men. They think too much, and if they do find a woman who will love them and whom they love, they spend the majority of their lives being restless, because things do not necessarily work out as they had expected. When the glamour of the meeting dies down, they are too easily fed up with the difficult times. The children, the money, everything. Don't be ridiculous, I interrupted. What on earth is the difference between men and women in this case? Can you honestly tell me that women complain any less than men? This is just plain silly. Noor, what on earth has this got to do with anything at this stage? Maggie, you don't understand, she said, standing up. I said that I find it difficult to explain some things, but you are being so thick. I'm trying to explain to you that if we just totally agree to be together, then everything will work out fine. All these other worlds are there to help us. But men must come to recognize women as they are, and for what they contain within them. Can't you see why I was screaming those years ago in Turkey? I was screaming out to be recognized as I am, the conditioned and the invisible, as John was telling us. We scream out to be recognized as we are. Nothing is going to really change in the world unless this is understood. You will just have another cycle of men and women not coming together, not accepting the unity together, and therefore not accepting all that will be brought to them during their lives. That's why I asked, can we bear it? Bear what will come and put up with the bad times as well as the good. Well, can we? She got up, walked a little away from me, and sat in the shade of an oak tree. Pulling her knees up, she clasped them with her arms and put her head down. It was a picture of despair. Damn, it happened so fast. First, we were experiencing everything so deeply together, and then this unbearable sense of separation. I knew that there was something she wanted so much to say. I could sense her pain, her frustration, and her longing, but there was something missing, and I couldn't see it. We sat by the river in silence, with only the sound of the water running over the rocks. I must have stopped thinking, for quite suddenly I understood. It is said that God made us in his image. If God is perfect, he is also complete in himself. If we are made in his image, then what we really are, the invisible reality of our true selves, is also complete. If we knew this, we would know ourselves. It is said, whoso knoweth himself knoweth his Lord, and thus the cycle would be complete. We alone in our ignorance damage the blueprint of our lives and those around us. We alone deserve the living ecology of our land. We alone, in writing our own book, create the concept of good and evil. Yet, if we accepted completion, we could participate consciously in unfoldment, without interfering with the limitless possibilities that lie within the moment, in essence, already complete. I walked to where Noor was sitting, her back propped against the tree. She smiled. In that silent moment, everything fused and was returned. At that moment, the dog we had seen the other side of the river came bounding across the shallows at the end of the pool and ran up the bank towards us. Sensing what was coming, we tried desperately to get up. It was too late. He came straight for us and shook himself violently just where we were sitting, soaking us in a flurry of spray before we could do anything. At that moment, the rabbit hopped out of the wood on our right. With one bound, the dog was after it, leaping over us as if we had become invisible. We doubled up in laughter. "I told you," said Noor, trying to get the words out. "It's a set-up, a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous set-up. Come on," she said, still giggling. "Let's go." We were getting much too serious. We ran up through the meadows together, the long grass over our ankles, the wind making waves in the spring wheat, growing in the field on the other side of the river. So that was chapter 11. And chapter 12 will be read soon. They're visiting Margaret.